Hey, how's your summer going? Mine is going well. I've just been traveling a little bit lately, mostly just like local stuff, camping and family reunions and stuff like that. I assume a lot of people are doing similar types of things this summer. Man, I feel like with it being midsummer, it's just it kind of gets to that point in the summer where things start to feel a little crazy. I don't know. My summers usually start to feel a little crazy by about now with a little more lack of, I guess, scheduling and things like that. I don't know. I don't know. How's your summer going? Hopefully it's good and you are enjoying it. It's starting to get really hot. If you are in Utah like I am, man, we had a fabulous, cool, nice June. And now July has hit with a vengeance. We are heading for over 100-degree temperatures the next few days, and it's just crazy. Anyway, so an announcement-ish, I guess, that I kind of mentioned last week. If you got my newsletter, we are postponing our French chef river cruise for this October. Romina is not able to make it on the cruise for this October of 2023, so we are rescheduling for October 2024. More info to come, but essentially, I guess in a nutshell, it will be the same cruise. So it's still beginning in Paris and still ending at the beaches of Normandy. We are still planning on having Romina go with us and do all the yummy French chef stuff that we had planned for our 2023 version, but we're just going to put it off for a year. So if that is something that you might be interested in, just hang on and I will be getting out more information about that shortly. So with my crazy little bit of traveling schedule lately, I haven't had time to really totally focus on that just most recently. So I will get that info to you within the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, if you are interested in it, you can already put down a deposit and get your spot all reserved. Next year, it is the 80th anniversary of Normandy beaches. And so beaches of Normandy are going to be selling out really fast. So if that is something that you are interested in, you may want to contact me and let's get a little deposit paid and get your spot saved for next year. So anyway, let's jump into today's. Today is going to be kind of a little shorter, little quick dive into a fun itinerary. Today's topic is a really fun Barcelona and Paris getaway in under a week. So if you are interested in doing something that isn't like a huge, long, drawn out itinerary, but you just want to hit a couple of cities in Europe, this might be something that you might want to either do this same type of one or something similar if this is what you were thinking. My cousin, actually, Janelle, contacted me several months ago and said that they had won a trip to part of Europe. And so they were going to be over there already. And she wanted me to help her put together a kind of an extension. And so just basically a 6-day extension to a trip they were already going to be on in Europe. And they wanted to see Barcelona and Paris. And so this is just something that I put together for them. So I could do something similar if you were interested in something, kind of like this. So I just thought I would show you what I put together and what they did. They had a great time. I have talked to her since they got back and they had an amazing time. Just really quick run through of an amazing Barcelona and Paris trip in less than a week. Okay, so if you were flying into Barcelona on day one is when your flight would arrive. Point of info, if you are flying from the US over to Europe, it is an overnight flight. And so you will leave the afternoon or evening, and then you will arrive the following morning. Your flight arrives in Barcelona, and I will help you get transportation to your hotel. One hotel that I might recommend in Barcelona is called the Rialto Barcelona. This is where Janelle and Lance stayed for 3 nights. It's located right in Barcelona. It's called the Gothic Quarter. It's right near a metro station, and it's also near the beach. Barcelona, if you didn't know, is located right on the beach, and so you could make the beach part of your stay if you were interested in that. It's in a great little area, really close 3-minute walk to the Barcelona Cathedral, or a lot of other places where you could get to pretty quickly. It's only a 13-minute drive over to the Barceloneta beach. It's really easy to get around on the metro or walking in this area. The hotel, the Rialto Barcelona, has 205 rooms, so it's pretty good size. They do have air conditioning, they have free Wi-Fi, they have safes, flat screen TVs. So they've got some pretty good amenities. They have a buffet breakfast that's available. You don't have to get the buffet breakfast. That's kind of an option that you can add on if you'd like. And like I said, lots of great sightseeing, but also restaurants within the area that are really not too far away. So I'm showing just some pictures of the hotel, and it's just really a nice option for a place to stay. If you were doing a similar itinerary to Barcelona and Paris, which I did for Janelle, they stayed here for 3 nights. The first day is just kind of check in and get acquainted and just kind of see what's around. Then starting day 2, I offered a Barcelona hop-on, hop-off tour, which was a 48-hour bus sightseeing tour. So basically they've got some routes, this double-decker bus, and it's got an open top, and you can spend as much or as little time at the different places where it goes. And so it just takes you to all the major sites around the city, and it's a 2-day pass basically to get around the city. The other thing that I included for them was called the Barcelona Card Express, and that is also a 2-day pass. This is a tourist card where that you're actually not just being bussed around to the different facilities, but you are getting into 17 different facilities. It also offers museum discounts, restaurants, shops, all of that, type of option. And basically it's free public transportation for the metro and the city buses. There's, like I said, discounts or free offers at a lot of different places all around the city, including guides and things like that. I did that for them for the next 2 days that they were in Barcelona, just so that they could get around and do a lot of sightseeing on their own. Then later on in the day, on day 2, I fixed them up with a Barcelona tapas tour. Now, you've probably heard of tapas. Spanish tapas are just small plates of food. So it's like small appetizers. They can be combined to make a full meal. They can either be cold, like cheese, olives, meats, things like that, or they can be hot. One typical example would be fried baby squid or French fries, things like that. Anyway, tapas are small plates of food, and I set up a tapas tour for them. Really amazing. It's a 3-hour excursion through Barcelona, and they got to visit 3 different restaurants, and the local guides guided them through a tasting menu at these 3 different restaurants. And so they were paired with compliments of drinks and got to learn about some history of Barcelona, and they were picked up directly at their hotel and just taken around to these 3 different restaurants. Really, really amazing. Janelle said they had a great time on their tapas tour. And remember, anytime I am booking a food tour for you, let me know if you have any like dietary, intolerances or things that I need to be aware of, and we can definitely accommodate you there. So that tapas tour was a highlight in Barcelona. Then on day 3, of course, they still had the hop on, hop off and the Barcelona card that they could run around Barcelona and do all of the sightseeing things on their own. But then that evening, I set them up with a flamenco show with dinner. And it started at 6 p.m. There's different start times, but theirs started at 6 p.m. And they had dinner first, and then this amazing Spanish flamenco show. There are small cafes in Barcelona. They are descended from the so-called singing cafes, and they've been in the 3 main areas in Barcelona. They're just like small little places, and they're really cozy and intimate, and they just have live music and flamenco dancing, and just really amazing. They got to do this, go to the dinner, and then the flamenco show. So it was really, really great. A buffet dinner, but they had waiter table service, and with Mediterranean cuisine, 33 different varieties of cold dishes and hot dishes, different desserts and fruits and unlimited drinks. Anyway, just a really fun evening there for their final night in Barcelona. Then on day 4, they checked out from the hotel, and I arranged a transportation to the airport for them so that they could get their flight to Paris. And we could have done a train from Barcelona to Paris, but as we looked into that, that was going to be a lot longer than they wanted to spend. They really wanted to get to Paris because their time was limited and they didn't have, a week in Paris or whatever. They really wanted to, I guess, make the most of the time that they did have. So they wanted a shorter option. So we sent them on a flight into Paris. The hotel in Paris is the Grand Hotel Français. It's in the 11th arrondissement, which is one of the neighborhoods in Paris, close to the entertainment district, really close to a metro station. The Paris Zoo is popular right around there, and the stadium is pretty close. The hotel is not like a super high end, but it does have AC, it does have Wi-Fi. They do provide blow dryers in the rooms, and they have cable TV. They've got a 24-hour front desk. So they've got some nice options at the hotel. One thing to note about European hotels is that generally the hotel rooms are quite small. So just don't travel to Europe thinking that the hotel rooms are going to be similar sizes to our American ones. They are quite small, especially the ones that are in the older buildings. And so you just kind of have to wrap your head around that and get used to that even if it's a really nice hotel, a lot of times the room is going to be much smaller than an American hotel. Okay, so nearby places of interest, the catacombs of Paris are only about 4 miles away. The Eiffel Tower is 5 miles away. The Louvre is 3 miles away. And they're really close to like I said, a metro station. And there's a continental breakfast that is also available at this hotel. So I'm showing just a few pictures of the hotel. Nice areas. It's on these fun cobblestone streets. Really a nice little place. On that first day, when they arrived into Paris, they wanted to see the Louvre. And so I got them into a shared tour for 2.5 hours of the Louvre. Now, if you have ever been to the Louvre, you probably know that you could honestly spend days and days upon days at this museum, like so much time. And so to have 2.5 hours in the Louvre, you are walking around and just getting really the highlights, not very much in depth. This is a great little introduction to the Louvre, and especially if you don't have lots and lots of time to spend there, it's a great option, but if you really wanted to be more in depth, you really would need more time. You start with this 2.5 hour tour. You start with walking through the commercial area, and then you go, which is kind of outside, and then you go into the museum and you get to see the medieval fortress, the modern pyramid that is so famous in all of the pictures, and then some of the most reputable masterpieces like the Mona Lisa and some of the others that you would, hope to see when you go to the Louvre. But basically it's, a smaller group with only up to 25 people max. It departs at 2:15 in the afternoon. It's really a great overview tour, but it's not a super great in-depth tour if you wanted an in-depth one. But it's really a great option for what Lance and Janelle were looking for. Okay, so that is the first day that they arrive in Paris. Then the next day that they're in Paris, I got them a hop-on, hop-off bus tour as well, so that they can take the bus to a bunch of different locations all throughout the city also. And it's fun because they, always share local history and trivia, and they just have this audio commentary that's going, and you can get hop on, hop off in any of the places that you want to. And the buses are running all day long. During the summer months, they begin at 9:30 and the last one is at 6:30 p.m. And the buses run every 10 minutes. It's a nice option to get to run around Paris if you'd like. Now, the fun thing that I booked for them later in the afternoon is to have a combo tour, which includes lunch at the Eiffel Tower, plus a little river cruise on the Seine River and a Paris city tour. So you start out at the foot of the Eiffel Tower and you take the elevator with priority access up to the restaurant, which is the Madame Brasserie restaurant. And a table is already reserved for you. You get to have a 3-course lunch, and then you get a panoramic city tour in a luxury motor coach that's air conditioned. So then after that, then you come back to the Seine River and get to go on this fun 1-hour river cruise and get to float down the Seine River and back and have a total tour of the city from that standpoint. So the entire tour is 5.5 hours. It's really great and really fun. A really fun way to get to see like parts of the city that you normally wouldn't and get to experience the Eiffel Tower up close and personal. Okay, so on the last day in Paris, I set up for Janelle a guided tour of Versailles in the morning, which was about 5 hours long. It does start around 8:15, and you get a guide that, just totally brings to life the Palace of Versailles, and which was the home of Louis XIV. Just amazing. Like, you get to see the Hall of Mirrors, the King's and Queen's apartments, and you'll have free time at the end, and you can like really just stroll through the gardens and see all the statues and the vases and all the sculptures and everything that are there at Versailles. It's so amazing. And it leaves from basically right near the Eiffel Tower and returns back to there. It's about a 5-hour tour altogether. Then later in the afternoon, I set up a pastry and chocolate walking tour in Paris for them. If you are going to Paris, you have to try the pastries and the chocolate. And so basically, of course, the chocolate makers are known as some of the best in Europe, and the pastry makers are also. So they the windows alone, if you wander along and look through the windows, it's just amazing eye candy. But anyway, you get to go on this 3-hour tour, and it either begins at 2 p.m., which is the one that they went on, or there's a morning one that begins at 10:15 a.m. Maximum number of people is 8, and it's this 3-hour amazing chocolate and pastry little walking tour in the Saint-Germain area in Paris. So fun. Another option that I put in here is if you wanted to go to Versailles, but you also wanted to see something else, you wanted to see Monet's gardens, then I've got a combination Versailles with Giverny. And Giverny is where Monet's gardens are. So in the morning, you would go to Giverny, out where Monet's gardens are, and you'd get to visit Claude Monet's house and the studio and the gardens. Then you'd have lunch, and then in the afternoon, you would go to Versailles and get to do that part. And if you did do that option, then of course you would miss out on the pastry tour, or maybe we could fit it in one of the other days. So that is just an option that you may want to do as an alternative. Then on day 7, you check out from the hotel, get back to the airport, and your flight departs from home. That is basically the itinerary that Janelle and Lance went on, and it was super fun. Let me know if you would like to do something similar to this, or want to have me help you check out, another place that you would want to go, and we can certainly work on it. So again, have a great summer, great couple more weeks of summer until I see you again next time, and we'll talk to you later. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I would invite you to like, share, or leave a review. Let's help grow our wellness travel community.